Hi guys! So whether it's NaNoWriMo or any other day of the week, time management is going to be a massive part of your life, and it does come easier to some people than others. Those of you who can just sit there and say, yep, this is my life, this is what's happening at this time, I got everything sorted, then God, I wish I had your power, okay? I personally struggle with time management. Everything is just so all over the place. Nothing seems to sit still long enough for me to actually take notice of it, and it is just a mess. So this isn't necessarily going to be a video of how I handle time management. It's going to be a little bit of a look into what I do to help myself. Other bits are going to be a bit of a rant. Otherwise, it's just going to be a general discussion about time management, and considering we're in the general season for NaNoWriMo, I thought, what better time to talk about it? So this is just a insights, rant, discussion on time management. So personally speaking now, all in all, what I've got going on in my life, there is quite a lot to it. So I have two jobs, one of which is retail. So not necessarily the fanciest of jobs, I'll admit, not where I saw myself anyway. Everyone goes through a retail job at some point in their lives. Nothing to be ashamed of, it's whatever pays the bills, right? But the problem with retail is that the schedules are never the same week by week, at least not from my experience of working in it. So everything has the ability to change and switch around. Sometimes people can't make it, sometimes you have to cover shifts, sometimes you have to go to different stores to cover. It's a bit of a mess. Now my other job is a little bit more pinned down. My other job is working in an after-school kids club, so I look after children. So the days that I work, there's going to be the same times, the same days, and I don't have to worry about working in the summer holidays or if there's a half term or something like that, because there's no school, so no kids to look after, unless my boss is putting on an event day. So like, even though it's half term next week and the kids aren't in school, we are still having one Halloween party day where I still have to go and work, which is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of dress up and pumpkin carving, you name it. So yeah, so between the two jobs, one is way more structured than the other. That can cause a lot of problems, especially when you're trying to juggle the two. On top of that, there's also my reviews that I write once a week on my blog, which is in the description below if you want to check it out. So there's that to maintain. Writing reviews doesn't necessarily take a lot of time, but I have to be in the right mindset for it. If I'm just not feeling it, but I know I have to upload something this week, then I force it out, but it's gonna take like hours just to get through the simplest paragraph. If I'm in the right mood, I can get about 4 reviews done in a day. That's a very few and far between mindset to be in. So yeah, there's that to keep on top of every week. Now I've added YouTube to my plate, which I have no regrets about. I am actually really enjoying this, and it's really great to just being able to talk, just being able to get my opinions out there, just to show you guys the way that I do things. It's just a nice little release, in a way. And then, obviously, there are my writing projects, the stories that I want to eventually publish, be it self-publishing or traditional publishing. I haven't quite decided that route yet. I kind of want to actually have a fully edited and completed project before I jump onto that stage. That is a lot, especially when you mix in the usual stuff, like when we have friends over once a week to play D&D, or just have a games night or a films night, that kind of thing. I have a pole fitness lesson once a week. I'm trying to get on top of my fitness, so I try to go running twice a week. And there's also seeing family, because my family does live quite close, about a 20-minute drive away. So, and especially with Christmas coming up as well, everything is just all systems go. And last year, things were even worse because, you know, as if, you know, all of this wasn't enough to deal with. Last year, I also had my wedding to plan at the same time as doing driving lessons to try and pass my test, which I actually did do this year. So bloody happy. So yeah, you'd think, so hang on a minute, 2 jobs, writing reviews, videos, previously wedding planning, driving, and just coming back from honeymoon, you must be the time management champion. Well, no, I still have this horrible, still in university mindset where I leave everything to the last minute, even though I graduated university 5 years ago? Oh my god. Anyway, that's a crisis to think about another time. One thing that has actually helped with my time management is just coming to accept the fact that some things are just out of your control. You can plan, you can try and make a schedule for yourself, you can even tell people don't bother me on this day because this is what I have planned and I can't be dealing with any distractions, but guarantee that is always the time something pops up, like your car will break down, or a friend is going through a bit of a rough time and really needs you. You get called into work at last minute, and even though you could say no, they do have other people that they can call. There's those little things called bills that are whispering in your ear, and you need to pay them, so you have to go into work, and it is a nightmare. But it's out of your control. There's only so much you can do to combat it and try to balance things out again. As long as you're trying, then that means something. So during Preptober, I took full advantage of that whole mindset, because there's something about Preptober that just makes your mind go into high gear of, okay, this is what you got to do by this time. You need to make sure that your plan, your characters, everything is in order. You need to go, go, go. And I took advantage of that, because I not only managed to do the plan for the story and get all the characters right beforehand, because as I said before, this is a story that I have been working on for a while. I just haven't had the mindset to just sit down and actually write the first draft / zero draft properly, so that's what this NaNoWriMo is for. Anyway, so I managed to have all that mostly pinned down. So Preptober, getting the plan fine-tuned and characters adjusted, that actually didn't take as much time as I thought it was going to. So I used that leftover motivation to prioritise, and that's something else that really comes in handy with time management, is learning to prioritise and understanding what is going to be your most important goal and what's slightly less important but still relevant. So you need to understand what you really want to do compared to what you're not so sure about and all that jazz. So one thing I noticed that when I have this mindset of, right, let's go, I can write a lot of reviews. Now, if I'm going to be trying to aim for 80,000 words this NaNoWriMo, I do not want to waste my time writing reviews on a Thursday night when they have to be uploaded on a Friday. That's not going to work for me, that's just going to add more stress. So I got my brain into high gear, I made a list of reviews that I could do, not necessarily quickly, but efficiently. Get them done well, and have them stored up. So I managed to get 6 reviews written in about the space of 4 or 5 days, something like that. So those covered the last 2 weeks of Preptober and the 4 weeks of NaNoWriMo. And I do have 2 more lined up ready to go that I'm going to try and get done soon, so then I have 2 weeks after NaNoWriMo where I don't have to worry about writing anything, just to get it out of the way. It was on one of the lower, even though it was still a priority for me, it was on the lower end of the priority list, so I thought let's just get that out of the way, have them all stocked up, and then you won't have to worry about them. Everything's fine, they're ready to upload, you're good. Second thing was YouTube videos. Now they do take a little bit longer than writing reviews. Not only does the filming take, well, the filming doesn't necessarily take a long time depending on how many tangents I go on, but then I do go on tangents, so editing has to be fine-tuned. Especially when I was doing stuff like the honeymoon vlog, and I had over an hour's worth of holiday footage, and that was before editing me decided to jump in every now and again, and I managed to narrow it down to still 45 minutes, and that took a good few days, which is why I uploaded it almost a week after we came back home. So what I decided to do was do a load of videos in bulk. Now, I came up with a schedule for myself, so I'm going to be uploading, or try to upload, Tuesdays and Saturdays. We'll see how well that one goes, because as I said, my brain doesn't always work to a schedule as much as it should. Because of the weekly nano vlogs, that takes up 1 day, so I was like, okay, so I have an idea for that one. What am I going to do for every other upload? And that's when I decided to do the bulk videos, so covering characters, time management, writer's block, things that I can talk about, not necessarily quickly, but efficiently, and that I understand what it means to me so that I can put my opinions across, hopefully clearly. It's clear to me. Let me know if it's not clear to you guys, and I'll try and do another video or something where I'm cleaning up the messes that I made. Yeah, editing is what takes the longest out of videos, so I want to try and get as many videos stocked up as I can, just so I have that free time. So when it comes to doing the extra shift in work, I'm not panicking thinking, oh god, no, I was going to record, I was going to finish editing, I was going to write that review that needs to be uploaded tomorrow. I'm good. No, I've got 6 reviews waiting, I'm good. I have 3 videos already edited. Sure, I can go and cover someone's shift because they were too hungover to go into work. Not calling any names out on that one, and not saying it's been done before, but it definitely will be done again. So anyway, something that has really helped with my time management is lists. Now, I love making lists. I really do. Just seeing everything. It's kind of like my pants plotting method, where I have a brainstorm, I write everything down in one nonsensical bunch that doesn't really make sense, it's all over the place. But then as soon as I've got everything down on paper, that's when I can take a step back and look at it and say, okay, this needs to be done in this day, this needs to be done here, this isn't necessarily a priority, can that be pushed back, or do I need to get it out of the way so I'm not worrying about it? All little things like that. It's a pants plotting, list making chaos, but it does work. So for example, I've got my bunch of lists and stuff here. So for example, I had a upload schedule and my to-do before November list here. As you can see, scribbles. Dates aren't necessarily gonna be in the right order. Things are being crossed out, which are things that I've already done. Lists upon lists upon lists. So far it's going well, but something that I also do, as well as, you know, after writing these lists and ticking things off and moving things around, then I like to put them into a mini diary form. And I know this looks chaotic, but I promise you it does make sense, at least it does to me. So I write my list. Everything is written down, it's not necessarily in the right order. I could just put these things in my phone diary if I wanted to, but I don't check my phone diary that often. I put my work schedules in there and it gives me a little notification 10 minutes before I'm supposed to be there, which is not helpful at all. So what I do is that I like to have it in a place where I can see it often, mostly on paper. So this is October's, for example, scroll it in half so it's easier to see. October, the dates, and all of the list of things that need to be done on that day. So for Sunday the 20th, for example, I needed to write
my last kids on review, my ponytail innocence review, my sister's birthday present, work shift from half 10 until 3:30, and write the next game review.
All things which are crossed off the list and ready to go. And that's just how it works. I also had one for NaNoWriMo. I say had, I still do. This is my first attempt at it. You can see it is mostly completely blank because I did all of the lines and everything, realised that I did the lines wrong, that it was all over the place. I wrote stuff down and then my work shift changed. Things just kind of went skew-if. So this is just sort of like an example page that I've used to make my proper NaNoWriMo diary, which I will show in another video sometime after the chaos of NaNoWriMo is over. So yeah, prioritise lists, getting everything out on a piece of paper so that you have the ability to see it all in one place rather than it's all jumbled around in your head, and you can put it in some kind of order that makes sense for you. That has been the biggest thing that has helped me with time management, because then once you see that everything is down, and then say your work shift changes, or you need to go and see a friend or see a family member, or if your boiler suddenly explodes or something like that, you can still see everything on paper. You can still see where these tasks could fit in future days without running yourself down, and you can move it around to suit you. So even when things happen that you don't have control over, you still are able to regain some kind of control back. It's not perfect for everyone, and I understand if the whole idea of it makes you all a bit this is just something that works for me. Like I said, this isn't an advice or a hints and tips kind of thing, I'm just going through my process. Something else is something that I don't necessarily do well, and I've said this before, I do like taking a break. If I can get an extra hour's sleep, then by all means I'll try to take it. If I can spend an extra 20 minutes in a nice hot shower, then I will. If I can play a game for like an hour or so, then I'll take it. But while I'm doing that, I will still have that little voice of guilt saying that you should be working harder, you should be doing more than just this is wasting your time. But you just have to remind yourself that no, this isn't wasting time. If you feel like you need a break, then you need a break. So for example, on a day where I'm doing both my jobs, so if I'm waking up at 7:30 to go into my retail job and I'm staying there until 2 o'clock, and then I have to run home to change my uniform and then get in the car and then drive to my kids club job, and then I'm there until about 6 o'clock, then I'm driving home through all the traffic. If I'm not home till about 6:30, 7:15, then I'm not going to have a lot of mental capability to sit down and write about 5,000 words or something like that. So those days I take things a bit easier. Maybe I'll only write 500 words that day. Maybe I won't do any writing at all and I'll just chill out and play a game. Or maybe I will write out a plan for the next review so that when I do sit down to actually write the thing in full, it is all there ready for me and it's one less stress to deal with then. If you need a break, you need a break. There is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. If you just want to chill out and have a bath, if you just want to play a game, if you want to go for a run, then by all means do it. If you feel like you need to plan ahead and while you're making these lists, put in rest days, rest activities, bits of fun, then by all means do that. If you're still planning to take breaks, then that is still a good thing. They don't need to be spur of the moment, oh, I'm gonna crash, I need to lay down kind of things. Sometimes you're thinking, okay, I'm probably gonna be burnt out by this point, that's probably a good time to schedule in a rest for myself. Do it. It's just gonna make things a lot easier and a lot less stressful, because everything does get on top of you. Everything gets to everybody in some way or another. There is no point pretending that you are untouchable, because no one is untouchable. Everyone gets affected in one way or another, and time management is probably one of the biggest stresses out there. So take advantage of it and schedule a rest. It's fine, it's all good, no one's gonna judge you for it. If I can learn to take my own advice one day, that would be fantastic. I've probably gone on way too many tangents as it is, so I'm going to wrap up this video here, guys. But yeah, this is just a little look into things that I do to try and get a handle on my time management. If you want to try the making lists and prioritizing methods, then by all means go for it. If you're one of those people that time management and scheduling is just perfect in there, then by all means comment down below and give me some advice, because I'd love to try it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, whatever chaos it may be. Editing this is going to be a nightmare. At the end of the day, don't sweat the small stuff, because you're not going to have time to look at the bigger picture. A cheesy little quote to end a random little video. Happy writing, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.